how can we rise up, get our voices heard, and advocate in the most professional way or the best way to find a positive change in this system that even the policymakers are really not wanting to address?
I mean, it goes back to looking at the why, not the what.
How does it feel to know that the system you built from your own struggle is now the lifeline for some of our brothers in arms?
Right? It's why I was put on this planet, right? You figure out your purpose and your path, and it's like, okay, it made it all worth it, right? And you can't do it all by yourself. There's so many other organizations and programs that have stood up now that we're partnered with. I've got a team behind me now at Task Force Dagger, yeah, a phenomenal team. Before it was a couple of us trying to figure this thing out. And like I said, it's not a fight anymore. Now I'm fighting for time in my schedule, being booked out. I see clients basically Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday all day. And Friday and Mondays are my admin days to clear my mind and get my feet in the sand and ground myself. And because it takes a toll, like we're talking right now. Today, I had two cases that were almost identical to us, right? Like very similar. And, I don't get triggered like I used to, but you got to observe, not absorb, easier said than done, but it still has an impact. It brings up those things, but now it's not like, oh, it's like yeah, man, I feel for him. It's like one of those things. So you got to learn how to after you come out of that type of environment to work-life balance. And well, it's total bullshit, but more work-life harmony, learn how to manage that type of transitioning from going coaching and consulting into, okay, back to family time, back to unplug from what's going on here, shut the computer off, put your phone on, do not disturb. You got to set some strict boundaries with yourself and other people as well. If not, you're going to burn yourself out. And I've been there, man. I got burned out once before. Now, Jenny, who works with me at Task Force Dagger, she's got a similar background to us in law enforcement and stuff. And she's like my right-hand man, woman. And when she first started on and had to hear these stories over and over again, it was like, oof, both of us are like, ew, because we know it hits home. And so it's like, I don't want her to have the same fate that I did being in the hospital because of it, So it's like, we check each other, every week. So it's really good having her on board. It's been a game changer. She's like the mom case managing, like you had Rebecca, I think, when you went through. You've got that continuity, right? But at the same time, she also needs time for her. So that's something we've been working through. But more programs, like I said, have stepped up. Operator Relief Fund. We work All Secure Foundation. We work Special Forces Trust, Special Forces Foundation. There's Mission Within, Vets, Heroic Hearts. We've got the Rolodex, right? And so we're not trying to do everything by ourselves anymore. I have people that ask me about plant-based medicine or psychedelic assisted therapies. We do a lot with ketamine therapy and integration, but all the other foundations that are doing ayahuasca, psilocybin, ibogaine, and all that, that's what they do. That's their bread and butter. So we have scholarships and partnerships where we can help people, whether it's paying for travel or paying for the integration therapy on the back end. We're not paying for the plant-based medicine, but yeah, we work by with and through everybody. But my big focus was being proactive, not reacting. And so getting out there with the education campaign, my Instagram page, Facebook page, the writing I do with Havoc Journal and Epoch Times, stuff like that, trying to get the information out ahead of time. And biggest thing is getting people while they're still active duty before they get out to get all this stuff looked at. We have great programs, the Polytrauma Centers, addiction centers, whatever it is. Tell everybody listening, do not retire, do not ETS, do not leave your career. That's high trauma, high op tempo without going through these programs that are offered by either the military or the companies you work for. Take full advantage of that before you decide to cut the cord, right? And I would say 36 months prior to any major transition in life to allow yourself for all the medical intervention that's necessary. If you need any type of surgery, 3 years, right? You're going to get your surgery. You're going to have to do probably 6 to 12 months of physical therapy. And then to try to get back to full speed, it's going to be a process, right? And to get referrals done. So don't wait, think the last 6 months of your career, you're going to get all these things fixed, because you won't. So you need to start going to get seen 3 years before getting out. Minimum 12 months if you want to be in a polytrauma center like Star Prep or NICO or any of those programs. They're all backed up a year. And so make sure to get those things done. And everyone shits on the VA, but I'm telling you right now, the VA Polytrauma Centers are incredible. It changed my life, right? They offered everything there. And if I had the magic wand in DOD, I would put one of those near every major military installation. And I would not let anyone retire or get out until they got a screening and went through one of those programs. It's the least we could do as a community in the military, because if you send people packing with unresolved trauma and injuries and all these other things and think they're going to get fixed when they get VA healthcare, not happening. Not that it's bad, it's just bureaucratic and it's backed up. I just retired in April, right? Go to establish care with the VA just to have it, because there's some incredible things that the VA offers, like durable medical equipment, stuff for PT and stuff that I use. And for me to get an appointment was mid or end of March.
Systems are actually working. So
Yeah.
I'm just going to throw in a little tidbit of my little thing, and then I'll get
Yeah.
off my little box. But me just trying to get care, I went in, got my referral from my team. Hey, history of traumatic brain injury. We'd like to get him seen for PTSD, get him into one of the polytrauma clinics, right?
Yeah.
That was like the turnover paperwork. VA provider, so here we're talking imperfect world, doesn't tell me, doesn't do anything. 40-minute over the phone, wasn't even a telehealth. It was just a phone call. It wasn't even a video, whatever you call it, like a
Yeah.
video telehealth. It was just a phone call telehealth.
Yeah.
Bipolar, no secondary diagnosis, no whatever. After a 15-year career in special operations with 7
Yeah.
deployments, just promoted to chief.
Yeah.
Hmm. Hmm. It doesn't take a medical expert to say that something's really fishy there.
Yeah.
This was going on all kind of during the pandemic, right? And one of the things that kind of broke my brain, if you will, is something that you kind of mentioned previously, is it's not just a military issue. There's the civilian component. And whenever your physiology it does not feel safe, when your
Yeah.
physiology does not feel safe, you can't process trauma, you can't grow, you can't heal.
Yeah.
The pandemic itself is something that I've said multiple times, forced the world, everyone to endure kind of a deployment,
Yep.
if you will, because they have to face that uncertainty. They're afraid of death, even though the statistics are showing you're actually very safe.
Yeah.
The media pumped so much fear
Yep.
that everybody kind of went through the psychological cycle
Yep.
of a deployment at the same time. And so if we're already trying to integrate things like this for our warfighters, I think that it's very important. Here's what I believe. Much like emergency medicine and trauma, like surgery, advanced as a result of the war on terror and all the things that went on with that, my belief, my passion, and I think that it's very aligned with yours, is that we can take these lessons learned from our military, from our veterans population, and just like you said, have a preventative thing set up for the veterans, but also take all of that stuff out into the community, spill it over so that you're not repeating generations of abuse
Yeah.
because somebody is going through something that they can't understand. So I guess my question is, because I even brought this up to Boss, Congressman Boss.
Yeah.
I was trying to push for something like you're saying. Hey, don't let any of our you find your highest at risk populations, right? Combat veterans, special operators, people with high op tempo, maybe people in the medical, whatever it is, medical police, whatever it is. You find those ones that are like, these are the ones that statistically have these issues.
Yeah.
Let's put them into a transition program that does allow for that medical pre-screening, that does give them the ability, because they already have like a TAPS or whatever you want to call it. But how do we integrate the medical side? I know you've kind of like probably dove into this, but do you have what's your view? You've probably got a macro perspective.
Oh, funny you say that, because I started a program like that, ran it for 4 years, called META. It's medical education, education services, transition service, and advocacy. And exactly 36 months out from transitioning out, you went through this program. We talked about everything we've talked about today. Not only that, I do my workshop with explain the health effects of the operational environment, operator syndrome type stuff, right? And then I back feed that with all the providers and programs that are required to address all the issues we brought up, right? So having a nurse case manager there, the VA benefits people, the TAPS people, the behavior health, the chaplain service, military family life counselors, So we pull the scab back on a lot of these things we talked about. And then we provide the resources and they're enrolling in those programs that day, right? The nurse case manager would be there every single day and make appointments with people, get them in, get their history, their timeline, and then write all the referrals to all these programs. So this was being done for all soft on Fort Bragg, right? And I did it for 4 years. And
That's
it's
awesome.
funny you say it because I started right when the pandemic kicked off. And it was another one of those programs where that came to me in a vision and a dream. I was like, hey, man, I need to do this for people before I get out. And my command sergeant major is like, just came out of nowhere. I was like, hey, dude, I know you do a ton of stuff for Task Force Dagger. He's like, can you do something to help the guys out, like getting out? And I'm like, funny you say that. I was like, yeah. I was like, when do you need it by? And the
That's
next
awesome.
day, I handed him 5 pieces of paper with my whole layout of the program. He's like, are you fucking with me right now? I was like, where'd you get this from? I was like, it was my retirement plan, right? And so I was able to do that. That was like a proper exit for me getting out. But I have that program that it's a proven model. It's effective. I ran it with a staff of one with a budget of zero, and it's repeatable. And I had the top people with me are like, dude, I wish we could do this. And like, it's way more effective than what we're doing. We're checking boxes. And just so you know that you know why the TAP program was stood up.
No.
All right. It wasn't because they cared so much about people getting out of the military. It was literally to get people off unemployment because it was costing the government so much money. Fun fact. All right.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
all right. So, and that program's geared toward like the E1 through the E5.
Mhm.
It's not geared for people who've been in that are E7 and above or friggin' O5 and above, right? Like we have different qualifications and things. Most of our people know what they're going to do when they get out, right? Clear mission, purpose, focus, and identity. But it's funny you say that. I mean, I've got a model that works and it should be implemented across every unit, not just special operations and not just military, any career field where you work high stress, high op tempo, first responders, medical professionals, lawyers, doctors. It applies to everybody. When I'll go back to the beginning when I was talking about if you grow up in chaos, if you grow up in high stress, high threat environment, uncertainty, unpredictability, scarcity, if you're wired for stress at a young age, you're going to find yourself in a career that's just as chaotic, right? Because it's the familiar hell, you're adapted to it.
Mhm.
But when you come out of that environment and things slow down, that's where you're going to have the problems, right? That's where we see police, firemen, military, people who work with
That's
battered
true.
children and abused
Yep.
children. That's when all those thoughts in that Pandora's box, the jack in the box, the lid blows off, all that unprocessed shit comes out because they've been compartmentalizing for so long. There's a reason why suicides were higher like the first 120 days of retirement or separation, right? Because you had all those distractions before and then you come back and all of a sudden you're head on with all your stuff.
Yeah.
And we know this, right? Like, why are we playing dumb with this still now? Like, every police, fire department, hospital, wherever it is, should have a program that helps you do all the shit that we did in soft and helps you with that. Hey, man, like, think about this for trauma. I'm going to use this, right? Think of law enforcement and first responders, EMTs, and stuff. The trauma they see is 10 times worse than we ever saw in combat. We knew what we were getting into. We signed up for it. We trained for it.
Right.
Doesn't
Yeah.
make it any better. But you know what? First responders and EMTs, they don't get the stress inoculation training like we do. They go from watching little kids mutilated by dogs and lawnmowers and people shot and stabbed and raped and murdered to the dinner table in 30 minutes. Tell me we had it bad in the military, right? No.
For real.
And there's no type of training preparation or anything on the back end. Oh, tell someone if you need help. Yeah, right. Go to any fire department and say, hey, I'm broken. I'm having nightmares. No fireman's ever going to say that, right? It's just like us in the military. You suck it up. You compartmentalize, suffer in silence. It's what you joined up for. You better fucking do it, right? Like it's the same type of environment. But there's a reason why dudes kill themselves because they feel like they're a burden to anyone else. They feel like they can't recover from their situation and they're not as good as they used to be and they have no purpose for living. Couple that with the top three medical conditions that are associated with suicide, TBI being number one, sleep deprivation number two, insomnia, and chronic or terminal illness number three, or pain. Check, check, check.
Right.
Well, any of those career fields, professional sports, military, first responders, all those things, right? It's all the same shit. It goes back to lifestyle and environment. And if we know those things cause all those issues, why aren't we getting out ahead of this and saying, hey, look, guys, You chose this profession. It's not like no one's going to be a fireman because they know the risk of cancer is going to be higher. Oh, everyone knows the inherent risk of breathing in toxins, right? Like
Mhm.
you go into being a fireman or a policeman knowing that these hazards are there. Same in the military. But what we can do is be like, hey, man, you're coming into this environment. Here are all the things that go along with this. And here's what you need to do to protect yourself. Most importantly, if all the check engine lights are going off and you're doing everything you're supposed to be doing, you need to raise your hand and tell somebody. Most importantly, we got this thing over here called maintenance that we put on the calendar that after 5 years or 10 years or 15 years, you're going to go get a full look under the hood. You're going to get some maintenance done to you. You're going to take some actual time off, not just changing. It's like letting off the gas pedal, not actually hitting the brake, but actually getting something in the schedule that helps your nervous system balance and regulate and spend family time, right? Implement it.
Right.
We don't do that. There's no organization on the planet except professional sports where recovery is in a contract. You will sleep, you will eat this, you will do this, right? No
Yeah.
other profession has that. But
Wow.
maybe actors too might have that too. But I don't know. I'm not an
Yeah.
actor, but I do know professional sports world. And if you don't get paid if you're broken, right? So, and if you don't show up on the field and win games, the owners don't get paid, right? So there's incentive to maintain yourself there, not in the military yet. So we need to get there, man. That's my point on all that.
Yeah, I dig it. I mean, those are another reason I was so excited about this interview and being able to chat with you is because those are my two passions moving forward. Is
Yeah.
one, finding some way to standardize that off ramp
Yeah.
to catch everybody. There's no
Yeah.
reason that we should be falling through the cracks at this point. We
Yeah.
have the VA that's funded. We have the polytrauma clinics that know what they're doing, just like you said.
Yeah.
But sometimes people fall through. Sometimes the situation, the system, the funnel doesn't work the way it's supposed to. Got it, check. But let's standardize something so that we can reduce that for one. And then for two, I just
Yeah.
kind of want to ask from your perspective, you've worked with tons of cases like this, distill this down into a call to action for
Yeah.
the person that's listening right now who does feel broken, who feels dismissed, who feels like they're lost in the medical system, that they're failed by the system, they're feeling betrayed. What's the first step that they can take to take ownership of their own health the way an operator would?
It's, you got to learn that you have to invest in yourself, right? You'll spend $400,000 in a house, $100,000 in a truck, 150 grand on a boat. But when it comes to eating clean and healthy and buying supplements and doing all those things, you're like, oh, it's too expensive. I can't do that. You only get one of these. There's no DXing this thing. You can't buy a new one, right? If you don't understand the value of why operating and maintaining this thing correctly, right? Think about a car. What determines the lifespan of a car, a vehicle?
The miles that you put onto it or engine
How it's
hours?
operated,
Yep.
how it's maintained, and the environment that it operates and lives in, right?
Yeah.
Okay, think about us the same way, right? What type of environment are we operating in? What are we doing for preventative maintenance? And what are we doing, right? Like, think of a rusty car, getting the salt off the car.
Right.
How are we taking care of ourselves, right? Like, it's that simple. And if you can look at yourself like your vehicle, your house, or anything else, maintain yourself the same way. One. Two is we need to go into proactive preventative medicine, which is performance, lifestyle, or functional medicine that actually prioritizes health, not managing diseases, right? There's healthcare, then there's disease care. So I understand why trauma and medicine has its role, not trashing it, but I'm saying we have to do more health and wellness. Health, right? There's a difference between health and wellness. Health is the status of being healthy, homeostasis. Wellness is the practice of maintaining health, right? So if you want health, you have to practice maintaining it. And that's where we're not teaching people how to do it. That's the operator manual, right? And so,
Mhm.
where in your military career or your firefighter career, your police career, do you get taught to operate, maintain, and identify and correct malfunctions in yourself? Zero, right? That information usually becomes available after you have a drinking problem, after you have a divorce, after you've gotten in some type of trouble. Then you get the resources, right? It's not front loaded. So my transition program was also an onboarding program. And so every organization should have an onboarding program that shows them all of these things and teaches them about all the resources to utilize. Because if you don't have the what's in it for me, why does it matter? Little Simon Sinek there, then it goes in one ear and out the other. If they don't have the buy-in, it's fucking worthless, dude. Like knowledge is not power, it's potential power. Only power when you implement the knowledge, right? And so that's where we fail as an organization to the why. Like I went on post today, I had a doctor's appointment, right? To go get a little snack before my doctor's appointment, I walked into the commissary, the PX. The first thing I see is alcohol, dip, every processed food you could fucking find. And you wonder why everyone in the military, like 70% of the dudes are overweight and can't make tape, right? We're setting people up for failure. And that tells me right there that even though we know all this shit of what that stuff does to people, metabolic dysfunction, and we care, we saw Pete Hegseth go on his little fucking speech the other day, fat shamed the entire military. It's like, okay, dude, you fat shamed every single one in the military, but did you figure out why they're all fat? You're the Secretary of Defense. And if anyone's out there fucking listening to me, fix your Chow Halls, fix your commissaries, get that poison out of there. All right. If you want people to be healthy, you have to serve them healthy food, right? I'll go back to the tab, right? If you want people to operate optimally, you need optimal food, fuel, you need optimal recovery, optimal training, and optimal medicine, right? Not good enough, not half ass. You need to bring the standard of care up. And until we do that, man, we're going to be fat camping the entire military, right?
Big
So,
time.
yeah, man, it literally that simple, dude. And I don't know if there's anyone out there that wants to bring me in as an advisor for the DoD. I'll be happy to do it, but I've been banging my head against the wall trying to get this message out there. Like, you can't expect people to be healthy when they're poisoning themselves every day, whether it's poisoning themselves with social media, stress, anxiety, expectation management, or poisoning themselves with food in the environment, right? And medicine. So, common sense, brother.
I love it. Yeah. Just kind of from what I'm catching, hey, you're in that situation, you feel like you're not being heard. You need to take proactive steps for your health as you're trying to get the medical system to work the way it's designed.
Yeah.
Take those proactive steps for yourself. Eat healthier, put good inputs, take away some of those toxic inputs. So if alcohol is putting you and triggering you or something like that, you're going to have to develop that boundary. You're going to have to cut that out. Find your healthy relationship with food, with anything that you've got going on. So those are really great advice steps, and thank you for sharing those. So it sounds like we both kind of have this frustration of like beating our head up against the wall for like trying to advocate for systemic change.
Yeah.
So there might not be an answer to this question, but this is what I'm really looking for
Yeah.
is what can we do moving forward? How can we unite, collaborate so that we can find ways to change this system? Because it's pretty discouraging when you've talked about this, you've everything seems common sense. Like you said, like just apply the same philosophy that we apply to everything else to our veterans healthcare and we'll be fine, right? But then you talk to the chairman of the VA Oversight Committee and he completely blows you off. And his biggest response is, well, it's better than it used to be. No, the marketing is better than it used to be. Your image is better than it used to be, but the functional help is no different.
Yeah.
So, from those standpoints, how can we, as a community, as people who've been there, how can we rise up, get our voices heard, and advocate in the most professional way or the best way to find a positive change in this system that even the policymakers are really not wanting to address?
I mean, it goes back to looking at the why, not the what. The what's the problem, the why is this happening, right? We fail. Government, we're shut down right now, right? Why are we shut down? I'm not even getting into that one, but why are people killing themselves? Why are people getting cancer? Why are people overweight? Why are people depressed? Go to that, right? And it goes back to the lifestyle and environment. Right now, there's a form of medicine out there that literally focuses on lifestyle and environment. It's called functional medicine. They look at the why, not the what. It's literally implement that somewhere along the pipeline. We can't get rid of conventional medicine because we need that because of what we talked about before. But there's a sequence in an order of what to use and when, right? So if people can stop going to the doctor and focusing on the what is the disease or the dysfunction? Why is this happening to me? Is it stress related? Is it toxins? Is it food? Is it relationships? Is it finances? All of the things, right? That's stress. Okay, if we know that over 90% of doctors' visits are stress related and stress is part of your lifestyle and your environment, why wouldn't we embrace a form of medicine that focuses on lifestyle and environment? That's simple, dude. Like, that's where we're missing. Right now, we have a system that focuses on diseases, not people. It focuses on problems, not root cause dysfunction. And it's like, all you got to do is switch, man. Like, Give us a pilot program. Let us build an institution. Let us start a polytrauma center that focuses on this. Let's put some education out front while people are coming into service, right? We know we're recruiting, I'll rephrase that. If we're recruiting people to come in the military, we know the majority of military people come from military families. We might want to invest in that military family so that we have healthy, capable offspring to backfill us, right? Until AI and machines fully take over, we've got a readiness problem on our hands that's not getting better. It's exponentially getting worse. Obesity rates, autism rates, autoimmune conditions, allergies, they're skyrocketing. They're not going down. Cancer, skyrocketing. Mortality has decreased because of better care, but cancer rates are skyrocketing in young people, right? So we can't say what we're doing is working. It's not. We got to change direction. What's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. It's not working, dude. We got to change the system of medicine to look at root cause dysfunction, right? That's it. That's my solution. Like, go there. Go to the why, not the what.
That's awesome. I love it. So this is a very monumental task, and thank you for carrying this burden for so many years. Thank you for recognizing me whenever I had the issue and getting me plugged in to a better path. So how can our listeners support this mission, Task Force Dagger Foundation, and help you change the future of healthcare, not just for our service members, but our communities beyond there?
Yeah, man. I mean, www.taskforcedagger.org. You can donate through there. It's not just money. We need things, right? Like travel and lodging, if people own businesses or corporate sponsors, anything to help facilitate our mission, whether it's other medical programs or medical supply companies or anybody in the community that wants to make an impact, or if you have new technology or anything, reach out to us. The biggest thing is force multipliers, right? We educate. If you want us to come educate anybody, whether it's a football team or a Fortune 500 company, everything we talked about applies to everybody, not just military people. And we're geared to that, man. And that money goes to the foundation. If you want to bring us in to do a workshop, that consider it a donation, right? But it goes back to force multiplying. That was my primary goal, was to do the SF thing, right? Teach other people how to solve their own problems. And I can't do it myself, right? So everyone that comes through our program becomes the next ambassador. They become the next spokesperson, the next advocate to help the next person in. That's invaluable, man. That's the mission accomplished, right? So keep doing what you're doing, brother. I'm glad you got to us. You know what I mean? The proof is in the patient, right? So it's repeatable, man. We didn't do any magic voodoo pseudoscience shit on you. It's looking for root cause dysfunction and addressing it. So, yeah, man.
Awesome. Thank you so much again. I really appreciate you sharing your story with us, sharing us all these tips, and for coming on the show and just being here and doing everything that you do. Thank you so much, brother.
Appreciate it, man. Have a good one.
You too.
Later.
Right. I am so thankful for Geoff and the many people like him out there doing the work every day to take care of people and make sure that they're getting access to the resources that they deserve and need. So let's pour one out for this week's Debriefing Cocktails, where we distill the essential life-saving lessons from that conversation and give you a clear action plan. Geoff just laid out a blueprint for taking back control when your body, mind, and even the system itself seem to be failing. Here are 3 takeaways you can put into action right now. 1, stop treating the symptoms and find the root cause. Geoff's core message is that we're living in a world where disease care and not health care. They give you a pill for the pain, but never ask why you're having the pain. They put tape over the check engine light and instead of looking under the hood. So your challenge for this week, pick one reoccurring issue in your life, whether it's fatigue, anxiety, brain fog, chronic pain, whatever it might be. Instead of treating the symptom, ask why 5 times. Dig deeper. Is it your food? Is it your stress? Is it your environment? Start looking for that root cause. 2, perform your own maintenance checks. Geoff made a powerful point that in the military, humans are more important than hardware. You are important. You are valuable. But for whatever reason, we have our weapons and our vehicles that have scheduled maintenance way more than we do. We are the most critical piece of equipment we will ever own. Your challenge for the week is schedule 1 non-negotiable maintenance check on your calendar this week. This isn't another workout. It's dedicated to recovery. It could be a 30-minute walk in nature without your phone, could be a sauna session, or taking time to meal prep good, clean food and fuel for your next 3 days. Maintain yourself like you are the mission essential critical gear that you are. 3, become the CEO of your own health. Geoff's entire journey started because he refused to accept the "it's all in your head." He was dismissed and gaslit, so he took ownership. He did the research, he demanded the tests, and he became his own number one advocate. Your challenge moving forward this week: if you feel broken, dismissed, or lost in the medical system, your first step is to take ownership. This week, your action is simple. Ask one more question. Ask your doctor for a different test. Seek a second opinion, or spend 30 minutes researching your symptoms from a functional medicine perspective. Stop waiting for the system to save you and start leading your own recovery. Take action. Reach out for help. That would be my biggest takeaway from this episode. Is if you're feeling lost, if you're feeling like you're cut away in a stormy sea, reach out. Ask for help. Find the treatment that you need and you deserve. Again, thank you so much for being with us for this incredibly important conversation. We want to hear from you. Which of these challenges are you taking action on? Drop those comments, drop the work that you're doing in our social media comment section and let us know. And if this message resonated with you and you believe it's time to change the future of healthcare for our service members and our communities, please share this episode. Like, follow, and subscribe so that you never miss these vital conversations. And that helps us together collectively change that status quo in mental health care for our communities. Have a great week, y'all.